Hello, this is Sue from dragoncreations.co.uk, and today I thought we'd have a go at making a teddy bear out of alcohol inks. So all I've done is I made up 30 grams of resin. Mine's a 1-to-1 resin, and I did 16 of A, 14 of B, and then I have debubbled it and let it sit for 45 minutes. And I put, I've got googly eyes, I put them in at the same time, so it's stringy, very stringy. And the reason I've let it sit is because I don't want my inks to spread and take over the whole piece. So my inks that I'm going to be using are Let's Resin Brown, Let's Resin Magenta, Let's Resin Black, and Let's Resin Orange. And my sinker is Deco Rom Cupcake, which is in a needle nose bottle, which I've given a really good shake, and there's no pigment sticking to the side of my bottle. So make sure there's no pigment and you really shake it. I put ball bearings in all my inks and my sinkers to make sure that it breaks it all up. Okay, so I've never done this before. I had a little bit of success with the lily pads, but as for a bear, well, we'll see what happens. So I'm going to do his ears and paws first because they will be underneath. So his eyes are there, I think an ear. Oh, I might have to move his eyes. Let's just move his eyes slightly then. So they're between his ears. There. Okay. And what I'm going to do before I do his paw is I'm going to put my white on. Just a couple of drops. Right in the middle. 1, 2, 1, 2. And if you drop some white in like I have done there, just scoop it out with your stick. There. Okay, so they're going to be his ears. Now they should pull back in, but we can make them smaller in a minute anyway. So for his paws, I am literally, because I don't want them to be that big, I'm going to put some ink on my stick and my table. And I'm going to dip this smaller stick and make pads for his feet out there. So that's where we want them to go. And there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build them up. I'm just going to let it drip down my stick. So I'm going to take my time with this. I wonder if I can just get that drip in. Just knock it off slightly. There we go. Just come on. Oh, I got lucky with that one. Let's try another tiny bit more ink. Just knock that tiny drip off. That's better. He's got a bigger pad. Put a little bit more on. I really don't want this to drip right in and take over There, that should spread out now. Wipe my stick off. And again, I'm just going to go in with the sinker. Right in the middle. 1, 2, 1, 2. Right, so before I go any further, I'm going to pull his ears in slightly. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Just going to pull them in ever so slightly. So I'm just touching the inks. And the other thing that I found is, if you clean your stick off, use the resin, the negative resin, to try and round it off slightly. Try not to let your stick touch the resin, like I did. But you can always pull it back with your other smaller stick. So I'm just going to round them off slightly. I mean, they might not even show at all underneath the brown, but I thought we'd try. This is not going well. Let's get rid of that stringy bit between his ears. Let's pull that to one of the ears. There we go. Well, I'm going to try and round his ear off again. So I'm using my stick to push the clear resin towards the ink, and that should move the ink. It's like a magnet. So I'm rounding his ear, but this time I'm trying not to touch the ink, because then you'll just contaminate the other resin. There, okay. Right, now I'm going to try a pink nose. I don't want this to be very big at all. So again, I'm going to go in on my stick. And get this just right, I might be able to get that drop to go in. There. Don't be afraid to play with your inks. His nose is, might have to move his eyes again. And I'll go in twice with my sinker again, because I'd like the pink to show up for his nose. No, don't go on his eye. Right, my sinker is not pulling back, so he's got a nosebleed. So I'm going to pull all this back now. And then I'm going to use my resin again as a magnet and try and round it off slightly. Push it right in to make his nose really small. So long as you're not touching the mould, you should be fine. Try and get it away from his eye. Dipped it in the pink, clean that off. Do you know, lily pads were a lot easier. But we're getting a shape, so. I've got pink on it. Right, I've made it smaller, so now I'm going to pull it in with my stick. That he's going to have a really big pink nose. I might even go in with a drop of black right in the centre. I'll move his eyes again. Come away from his eye. See, I'm quite glad I put the eyes in early because it's given me a guidance of where I want things to go. Right, I'm going to be brave. Okay, deep breath. I'm going to put some black on my stick. Get a bit on my other stick. And I'm going to go right in the middle. As I say, you might not see this from the other side, but you don't know until you try, do you? I love experiments. A bit more black. I'm going to swirl it because I want it to go through the pink. There, big fat nose. On the other side, it might not even be there, so we won't know until we demold. Okay. So we've got ears and we've got paws. So I'm going to try and do... now the resin's not moving so much, so I'm going to risk it. Actually, I'm going to put it on my stick. I'm not that brave. I don't want to. So I'm going to try and make another paw pad here. Not as successful as I'd liked, but I'll try again. I only want that's a tiny, tiny amount. That's better. More control over that side. And I think I'm going to do the same with my sinker, actually. Oh no, I'll just put one drop in. There. There. Okay. So, he's got ears, paw pads, and some type of nose. No more pink. Put that away for now. Okay, I'm going to try and do like a tummy panel. And I am just going to put one drop there. 2 drops. And that was the orange. Oh, it's gone squiffy. Oh, look, I'm getting it everywhere now. See, I'm concentrating and becoming very messy. Well, he's got some type of tummy panel. Let's see if we can round it off a bit. Just going to go in on his nose again. Try and sink that black. Because I do want the pink to show through, so I'm going to put a bit more sinker on these little pads. There. Okay, the brown. Dun dun dun. Right, I want his feet to be brown, so I'm going to put one in the middle. His pads, he's got brown round his pink pads, and the same with the ears. So all that pink might disappear now, hopefully not. Now his tummy, I want brown around the edges, and then his face. Bye bye Teddy. So I've got to connect his ears, connect his paws, and his feet. Right, before that spreads too much, I'm going to go in with my sinker. I wonder if I'd left this a little bit longer, the inks might have stayed even less dispersed. But then if you leave it too long, you might just totally lose it. Oh, that's the wrong lid. Right, let's see what we've got here now. Alright, okay. I'm going to try and round him off because I want him to be fluffy, but I don't want him to be spiky. So with my stick, I'm going to try and make him round. Round his ears off slightly. Pull that paw back in slightly. There is pink there, but whether or not it will show in the end, I don't know. So I might have to put a little bit of brown on top again once I've rounded him off. Round his bum off. Where's all the brown gone on that one? Put a little bit more brown on there. Well, 2 drops. Okay, we'll go for 2. Not exactly what I wanted, but I'll come back to that one. Oh, he's got a spiky hand on this one. Let's round you off, my friend. I want you to be fluffy, not spiky. Well, he's not exactly round, but then I'm not an artist. I'm just playing, really, having an experiment. The main idea was to show you that you can control inks. Maybe this is a bit too adventurous, but I will come up with something else that we can do together. Oh, he's got a really fat foot now. So for that, I think I'm going to try the negative space. Make sure my stick is clean. Take off all the inks that I've been putting on it. Okay, and I'm going to pull the resin in without touching the inks to round that foot off, make it smaller. There, the rest I think I can do with my stick now. My little stick, please. Make sure that's nice and clean in case I need it again. Right, let's round him off a bit more now. I mean, you could do this with your children, as long as they're supervised. Just, it's quite therapeutic to draw in the resin, I must admit, but it's a challenge if you're not overly artistic, as in freehand drawing. What do we think? He's got really big paws, hasn't he? Let's just give him a little bit more stability in his paws, because they look. He looks like he's got when you go to a football game, you get those big foam hands. He looks like he's got a pair of them at the moment. And I think his head might be a bit small, but there we go. He is what he is. Just put his ear in slightly. Well, he's got 2 ears and 2 hands and 2 feet. So what I'll do now is I'll just go over with my sinker and that will push down the inks that we've moved, and it should, I say should, make him look feathery and fluffy on the other side. Because we've got pink on these bits, I'm going to go in again, try and make that pink sink slightly, and his yellow tummy or orange tummy, and his black nose. Right. Just pull that in ever so slightly. I don't want it to be spiky with white fur. It's meant to have brown fur. And I don't know if you just saw that through the camera, but all of a sudden the white just like flashed, but that's where the alcohol is evaporating. Oh, he definitely looks rounder now. Right, I'm going to leave him there. So what I'm going to do now is I am not going to debubble at the moment. I'll leave it for about 5 minutes. Then I'll give him a good debubble. And the reason I'm going to leave it is because the alcohol may not have evaporated by at the moment. So I'll let him settle for a few minutes. Then I'll give him a good debubble. Then I will back him and I'm going to put him on a white glittery background. And I shall show you what I've made. And we can have a laugh and make nice comments about my special teddy. So I shall see you in the demold. Again, my colours were, just in case you want to try this for fun, Let's Resin Black, Let's Resin Magenta, Let's Resin Orange, and Let's Resin Brown. My sinker was Deco Cupcake. And play with your inks, experiment. I'm doing this so you can see that you can control inks to a certain degree. Yes, I'm not particularly freehand artist, but you can make shapes with your ink. So I shall see you in the demold. Bye for now. Well, he's all cooked, so let's see what happened. Oh, his nose exploded. But I like the eyes. Oh, that's so funny. His black nose didn't happen. Do you know, I think we're almost there. But anyway, it was a fun experiment. Didn't get any pink in his paws, but he got pink in his ears. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, well, be kind with your comments, please, but it was just an experiment and I think it's so funny and I love his eyes. So I shall see you in the next one. Right, I've added a little bit of embellishment onto my bear with my acrylic pens, and I've given him paws, a nose and little paw pads, and I've put some nail stickers on top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to top coat him, and also I made him a friend. I just had to, I couldn't leave him on his own, so I did the same, exactly the same, but he hasn't got googly eyes, this one. I just had to have another go at it. I just enjoyed it so much. So I've made up 20 grams, which is 10 of each, 1:1 resin. And what I'm going to do, I've sprayed these with alcohol, just a really nice spray, and give them a wipe over to get rid of any grease. And what I'm going to do is just pour in the middle. They're standing on cups, and I'm going to let it find its way. So we're putting 10 on each. I just enjoyed playing with it so much, I had to make a friend. It's just one of those things. Just make sure I get it all out. Alright, and with your spatula, or I've got a silicone brush here, I'm just going to gently push it towards the edge. And there's a lip on the coasters, so you can just gently work it towards the lip. The other way you can do it, actually, which I shall show you, if you're ever so careful, is just gently allow it to go towards the edge through gravity. Again, there's a lip that you can see, so you can just take it up to that lip. And the surface tension of the resin will hold it there. I mean, if you want to, you can just flood coat them, but I am just literally doing the tops. So hopefully you can see that. It's just going to the edge. Where the lip is. So I'm just helping it along a little bit. And this is all top coating is, really. You just basically put another layer of resin on to seal in anything that you've added to it, or if it's not shiny, you can top coat. So if you have a matte mould and you want a shiny finish, you can always top coat that way. And if you've sanded something down and you put a top coat of resin on as well, that will take it, that will bring the shine back. I'm just going to turn him round because that cup's not level. So just be careful that you don't get any fish eyes. And that's where there's a bit of grease or something on the resin, on the surface of whatever you're top coating. There, so just move him around in the light, make sure I've got no bits I've missed. Gently, gently put him down. Yeah, and that's him done, so I'll do this one. I'll do the same again, I'll just move the resin to the edge. I enjoyed making these so much. I know they're not perfect and they barely resemble teddy bears, but I just enjoyed making them. And at the end of the day, that's the whole reason we do it. They just made me laugh. My husband was in hysterics. He said it looks like it's been thrown against a window. And he found it wholly amusing that I made a friend as well. I just had to. There, and then just move it about in the light to make sure you've got no fish eyes. And basically they're divots in the resin. Make sure you've got all the edges. Put him back on his cup. Oh, I've missed a bit, you see. Just saw it in the light. Okay, and this is the one time when you can use a torch. Or the one time I use a torch. And I'm just going to quickly, not too close, just to pop any bubbles. And that's it. And this is just a little blowtorch off Amazon. That's the only type of torch I use with my resin. Oh, tell a lie, I do have a really big torch I use when I'm doing resin paintings. And that's top coating. And that'll be the finished bears. All nice and shiny with little paw pads and sparkles. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.